So Dan, today I'm a graphic designer, obviously, here at KZoom. So I feel like
This is Nora.
Yes, hi. My name is Nora. I'm a
Dan.
graphic designer.
She's a graphic designer.
Yes, Dan's the owner of KZoom. But I feel like I get a lot of projects coming in for internal, things that KZoom needs.
Yeah.
Marketing materials and brochures and flyers and ads and all the things that KZoom needs internally to be designed. But I'm on the receiving end of those. You're the one who's kind of more broad picture, looking at
The sending.
Yes, like how do
Go do this.
Right.
That was a nice way of putting that. The receiving end.
Right.
Okay.
So my question is, how does a small business owner know what type of marketing materials they need? What are 3 to 5 essential pieces?
This is a hard question. I don't feel like I haven't outlined this, right? I love a good business card. I've always liked paying more for a good business card.
Yeah.
And that's just me.
Something a little bit more special.
Yeah, even though print is not our primary thing or whatever, but I love,
Right.
if you're going to make an impression,
Yeah.
make an impression.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And after that, I mean, it's like sometimes we might have a little flyer for a certain event or that type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe more important to me than the specific piece of like, oh, have a flyer
Yeah.
or this or that. It's like, I like making it custom for that event. So that, same thing with video, right?
Yeah.
Well, just like anyone looking at it goes, they made this for us.
Wow.
Like there's nothing, and that, I guess that fits with my whole philosophy of anything we put out media-wise.
Yeah.
Because I've always said one of a kind.
Yeah.
Like what
I
we
remember
produce
that.
is a one of a kind piece of media. So when it comes to
Yeah.
print or design, like if people look at it and they know this was a one of a kind piece, that's exciting for me.
That's really cool.
Okay, but then
I was going to say, I remember that
Yeah.
from you interviewing me when I first came here, is you were saying, I really want us to make one-of-a-kind media.
that's right.
Yeah,
We live it here.
we do. Yeah, from day one, that's
That's
what
right.
you told me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was probably T minus day
T-minus
one.
day
right?
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
That wasn't day one. It was
That's
like
true.
0.
That's
in
true.
the hole. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what? Sorry.
Yeah.
what
So
were you
in
gonna
the list of like, I guess you challenged me to think through like what are those essential things for a small business,
Mhm.
and maybe it's different for a different business that just doesn't interact with this or this or this.
say? Right.
But when it comes to a sales presentation, I love coming to the table with something that's really strong in print, thorough, organized, designed well.
Yeah.
And you have been a huge catalyst for making anything that we've ever done at KZoom 10 times better.
Wow.
And some of that's your initiative to like really dial in those resources.
That's so cool.
So I would say that's our top one at KZoom right now.
Yeah.
Partly because we're doing more proposals than ever, but that's like when you're coming to the table to make that pitch, I think that showing the value to the potential customer is so important.
Yes.
You know,
that's
it's
so
like
true.
I used to just go to meetings and like I could talk my way through it or whatever.
Right. Which your relational skills, I think, are a huge proponent that the proposal, as great as a proposal will be, you can never replace that.
Right.
Yeah.
But looking back 5-10 years ago, it's like I would sometimes just come to the table and be ready to jump to a sample online. But that well prepared, full, comprehensive, like even answering the question like who are you? Putting together a proposal and really showing the strength of your team and who's who and like what are your core values or what's your philosophy, services. Like I think that that you and we have done a good job of really dialing that in.
That's awesome.
And I think it's
That's
important
really
for any
encouraging.
small business.
Yeah.
Maybe, it's like a business card. It's like that moment, that transaction is 5 seconds, right? But a proposal, sometimes that's a 60 to 90 minute meeting.
Yeah.
And you bet, like, I think that the impression that leaves with somebody is that this person really knows how to show me their entire process, who they are, and they're knowledgeable enough to like give options and forecast what we could do within different budget ranges.
Yeah.
That leaves a powerful impression.
That
right?
really does. It really does. So yeah, because you hit it on the head with the proposal, I thought we could focus on that
Yeah.
today. Partly because it is something that we're using a whole lot, like you
Right.
said, but also because
Almost weekly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also the first impression that people have of KZoom. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like that, first knock on the door. You want
Yeah.
you want it to be good. So another thing I like about it is that we are using this proposal both printed and digitally,
Yep.
which people, when they think of marketing material, they're like, print, digital.
Are we talking print or are we talking digital?
Exactly.
It's like,
No, we're going to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's a print.
Midwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Save them. Uh-huh.
So here's an actual print proposal that you would give to a
I
client.
like the display of that
Yes.
to fan it out. Yeah,
Yes.
right? Was it a flip book?
Right, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. That you would give to a client if you were sitting down and meeting with me. But also, we have here a digital proposal. And so
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to hear your thought process on how do you balance these two? When is it important to have a print? When is it important to have a digital? Is there strengths to either? Is there weaknesses to either?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
I mean, this is kind of simple, but in the proposal scenario, that potential client is giving you 60 to 90 minutes of,
Yeah.
like, they're serious about making consideration. They might be shopping around.
Right.
So you better come to the plate ready to,
Yeah.
like, show your best.
Yeah.
But they might have 2, 3, 4 other key decision makers in the room right then. Hands down, that's like if it's that meeting, that's an in print and you're maybe guiding it through the digital piece on screen.
Yeah.
But I like when somebody has their personal copy in front of them because they might take notes on it.
Yeah. Like.
So the white pages, like how
It's a great
you have that
spot.
designed, like
Yeah.
they could make notes on maybe something that was said or whether it was on what you said or they have an idea of what they could do with it.
Right.
That gives them a place to record some of that. And you've got the big screen, the digital presentation. I like a follow-up email where here's the digital copy as well if for your review.
Yeah.
And maybe they have that to email to somebody who wasn't in the room
Yeah.
that they weren't going to, maybe they work in another city
Right.
and
yeah.
they're not going to send their print copy there.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of the both
Yeah.
all the time.
I
And
do
maybe
too.
it's not a whole lot different when it's like if it was a one-on-one proposal either. It's still that exciting, tangible piece that somebody can look through.
Yeah.
As long as they don't cheat and go right to the end. I've literally had that a handful of times where somebody's like, I know your pricing's at the end, let's go there.
Let's just go to the
Right?
very end of
Yeah.
the page. Yeah. I feel like I learn best when I have a physical book. Like when I was in school, I would try to get physical books rather than
Right.
ebooks because there's something about tactile paper and flipping through it and
Yeah.
being able to take hand notes that helps me
Yeah.
internalize the information more and makes it
Yeah.
feel more concrete and like it won't escape me.
Yeah. In school,
Yeah.
high school or college, probably not before either of those periods, but I love to like underline.
Yeah, me too.
And it wasn't maybe taking notes,
Right.
but it gave you, it gave you something to interact with.
Yeah, I agree. And then with the digital copy, there's a lot of pages where there's direct links, and those are really important too. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about why?
I probably should. So I really think it was Josh who kind of pioneered that part of it
Yeah.
in previous generations. But some people don't know that with a PDF, you can make those clickable to other places on the internet. So that's really powerful for us where sometimes we might take our standard proposal and sometimes you even know what samples to go to.
Right.
And we're going to pair something that is relevant to that industry in all of our library of different samples, whether it's photography, video, what's another one of our pages? Websites,
Website
typical
design.
websites, but we can
strategy,
just
yeah.
drop in those links to places on the internet where they can explore examples of our work.
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful. Whether people use them or not, they have a resource that's custom to them to explore similar projects.
I agree. That is
which is
one
really
thing-
fun.
Yeah, it is. I love that aspect of the digital portfolio that we have, digital proposal that we have, because that way you're almost creating more of like a journey for them. It's
Yeah.
not just a series of pages. You're creating this roadmap for them to explore who we are.
And our proposal is probably 15, 20 pages deep for some people.
Yeah.
To just show them the variety of things that we do.
Right.
But if that person's interested or more interested in websites right in that moment, here's like we're limiting it to just one page per service or
Yes.
whatever. So if they're really interested in it, that link out gives them the opportunity to explore more of that right then.
Right. Which
Yeah.
I think the proposal is really useful to bring that succinctness to the conversation, because if you don't have a proposal to go off of,
Right.
you have told me in the past that sometimes the conversation, that can be an hour or 90 minutes can,
Mhm.
go off different directions. And
Yeah.
this kind of helps you hone in and
Right.
tell you exactly, what's the most important information, who are we, and then tell them just enough so that they can make an informed
Yeah.
decision. Yeah.
And I do really believe that there are people in our busy world that like maybe they were even scheduled for that meeting and they just didn't make it.
Right.
And so like having that digital comprehensive version I think it's super valuable.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
I just had this thought of like where did some of our momentum come from with pouring in time and investment to create a proposal really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer to that is that we have had a good handful of clients in the last 5 years where they reached out to us for a high level, high dollar RFP or request for proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of those clients are in major construction
Yeah.
industries. Some of those are in huge pitches for employee benefits.
Right.
And, we're well aware because we're part of that construction of the RFP with and for them. But these are, there was a $10 billion job
Yeah.
in California for one of the local area Kalamazoo construction companies.
Right.
And they were going for it. It was a RFP in the Seattle area.
Wow.
And so they were looking to pay us a couple $1,000s to integrate video into that really huge opportunity for an RFP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where some of the wheels started turning for me of like, hey, like the quality of this proposal reflects the company
It does.
and is reflective of the huge amount of work that could be won from this.
Right.
And so we were wanting to compete with them to win that job, and sometimes that video integration
Yeah.
is really critical.
It is.
So I get excited about like those wins locally. I guess CSM Group wouldn't mind sharing that one of those huge wins that we had was with Pfizer, and so seeing that come to completion, it was during COVID times, and the video integration was necessary to like show some things that they're never going to see in a boardroom either. Like you get to take that person inside of the company too.
That is so cool.
I guess it comes back to that main point of like
Yeah.
a proposal is such a valuable tool
Right.
to have that, and I think that it's coming off of paper, going digital, going into video now more than it ever has.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are in a meeting with a client, how do you feel a proposal helps you with clear communication and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
alluded to this before of like in the past, I feel like I relied on my natural ability just to like connect with somebody and ask a question, and the meeting
Right.
felt great and that we covered some ground. But there was even a point a couple of years ago with Josh where we got to the end of the meeting and we talked a whole lot about, websites and video samples, and we hadn't even looked at anything and the time was up. So I think as far as like having that balanced proposal laid out, almost like a pitch deck, sometimes people would refer to it as,
Yeah.
it keeps you on track as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So another thought with that is, and I really just wanted to say this, is like I can't stand RFPs. Like, okay, I guess if you're watching this and you have some money that you want to have us bid on or whatever, we'll take it. But like, if anyone else is out there that can sympathize with this, like, I can't stand it. Like, it's like, I feel like our percentage of winning them is like low, and there's no relationship back and forth and that type of thing. But one thing I have learned from going through the painful and annoying work of organizing an RFP is that I think some of those elements that often a lot of different companies will ask, we're already putting into the design of our proposal. So when you asked about
Right.
like clarity and Does it help you organize things? Like, it helps answer those key pieces that we know people out there are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those is timeline for completion of the project. And so recently we've put together an RFP where it had a very clear timeline.
Right.
Literally like 2 weeks forward from the proposal going out, every week for a period of 8 weeks, here's exactly expectations versus just can you meet the delivery date.
Right.
So I think that that's one core piece of what should be in a proposal, just for that really awesome clarity that the annoying RFP requesters
Yeah.
sometimes put in there. But to everyone out there, I hope you win them too. But send me a message if you want to start a help group on this, like a support group of just like getting together and venting about the last RFP that you lost, because I'm looking for that community.
This podcast about marketing materials has turned into
Just
a venting
RFP
trauma session
grief.
for Dan.
Grief support. Show me a
Awesome.
sign if you're watching this. Give me a text, email,
Yeah.
message, just to let me know that there's somebody else out there that has the same
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, that's good. But it is true that proposals do have the strength of bringing clarity and organization.
Bring it
and
back to something positive. You
Bring-
got it.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make a proposal today.
So if you're a small business owner and you need help,
Or a large business.
or a large business owner, exactly, and you need some help communicating more, feel free to reach out to us about making some marketing materials.